particular type of motor, that turns wheels in a vehicle. I'm also a pain in the ass. Power steering belt. Power steering pump. Taking off the up pipe. So I can take the headers off. This is the new one that we bought to replace this old one that broke in half. Bada bing, bada boom.
What'd you just do, Brian?
I'll just use this one. This one's good.
I put the intake manifold onto the block. Right?
I've never really got it fixed.
What'd you do? Well, I fixed global warming.
Daddy, can you take this for a minute? Take this.
You want to make sure everything lines back up when you're putting in the bolts. You want to make sure all your hoses, you got to label them so you know which ones go back to what. And if you don't label them, you better have them memorized. Because it's a really expensive puzzle and you don't want to mess that up. A specific torque setting, you don't need to do that. But with like a flywheel or something where there's parts that are vibrating a lot, you want to use the manufacturer's torque setting so you don't under tighten the bolts and they don't vibrate loose when you're driving, or over tighten them and snap the bolt. So that's what you gotta watch out for. But
So what are you putting on now?
right now I'm just putting in some extra bolts in the intake manifold that I took out earlier. You just want to tighten these by hand, just so they're a little bit snug. Perfect example of why you don't want to over tighten nuts. The
What's
head
that?
will snap off. New spark plugs whenever you want to change your motor. That way you get everything new. MBK radium spark plugs. I'm just taking off the covers to the spark plugs, which connect the wires that are hanging down over there. This is the, I believe, coil pack, which goes into the spark plug, which you can see here. This goes in, there's a spark plug, and the wires clip into here, and that's what ignites the combustion chamber. So, once I take these spark plugs out and put the new ones in, I can put this back in and label it, or don't label it, but put it the way it was. from the motor on the other one, if you're doing it that way. Yeah, this clutch has nothing on it. Now, if you take a look at the difference, brand new, slightly used, worn down to almost, it's worn down to the studs. And the metal starts shaving, which is really bad for the flywheel.
Bran, what's this piece that you just put on your engine?
Clutch pressure plate, flywheel. The clutch disc is on the inside, pressure plate.
What's the torquing specs on these things?
For these bolts, 11 foot-pound of torque. Clutch alignment tool. This goes inside where the bearing is. This goes where the input shaft goes in the transmission. And that's so when you're putting the clutch on, everything lines up so you know it's going to fit back in the car.
What part are you putting on now, Bran?
The turbo.
What does the turbo do?
It makes you go fast. Forced induction sends more air quicker and compressed into the engine, and uses the exhaust gases to power the turbine. Stock downpipe that comes with the car. Your turbo connects to this. All your exhaust gases go back through here, and this is very restrictive because it's a flat plate and it all has to go through this one hole. The aftermarket downpipe, it all goes through this bigger opening, which is perfect. And then here's the back of the turbo, and this is your wastegate. And with the other one, it was a flat piece of metal here and forced it all to go through the small opening, so now it's more airflow, better gas mileage, and I won't pass emissions. So that's why when I want to go through emissions, you swap the stock downpipe back through. Bada bing, bada boom. I don't like that idea very much. This thing is so bipolar. I know things are gonna hit right now, but I'm just gonna pull that back a little bit.